I just had a shower, nice clean boy. Losing the hair, but it'll grow back. That's what we always say, don't we? Yeah. Just watching Rampage, but I lost interest. It sort of wasn't the story I thought it was. I thought they'd go Rampage the City as a team, but it just seemed more like about The Rock. I thought it was about those three characters sort of being the heroes, you know. Anyway, he's adopted it, The Rock. It's about him. It would have been nice to be a King Kong sort of story, you know, where they talk and run around and jump around to each other, and I sort of just, bah, bah, you know, you don't ever get to know those characters. They're the main characters of the story, those three. Lizzie, George and Rolf, wasn't it? Of course, they grab the little women out of the windows and try and run off with them, and it was a good game, Rampage. Played on Sega, I think. I think it was on Amstrad too, the tapes. I think we played it once at an old friend's house. But, just what a day. Full day in the city. I had a bit of school, but just basically signing off for work for the year, for the term. And then I wandered around, bought Rampage at the shops, had some Hare Krishna. I ended up wandering around more, had some McDonald's and a bag of lollies. For $7, you get like 10 lollies in it. Can't believe it. $7, you know? Unbelievable. Anyway, it must be made out of gold bars or something, these lollies. Anyway, I shouldn't complain. I know a lot of work goes into it. It's a convenience store, so not much to report. Just had a nice shower, feeling pretty relaxed. Had a bag of chips when I got home. Eating too much and then exercise is getting shocking. Put me on weight again. Feel like a bag of spuds. Not that bad. I'm not that bad. I just still get around, but I need to really work on my muscle mass a bit just to be more fit and strong. But just hard on your own without a partner. I need a girlfriend to trim me off afterwards. I think guys know what I'm talking about. It's like any hard drive. You work it and that, you have to trim it afterwards, defrag. Get too full of frag, don't you? It's like you end up a pellet gun overloaded. Anyway, back to what I was saying. You can probably hear that movie in the background. I might close the door. It's a bit loud. No, it's cool. This computer has got a Blu-ray player, but it doesn't play the 4K ones. Because they're both Blu-ray, but just bigger format. It's Ultra HD or whatever. But the Xbox one with the Blu-ray player does play it. So I bought a double disc one. I had Blu-ray and the 4K version. So I've got the 4K in there and the Blu-ray on my computer. So I'm all set. It's just the movie shit. So $20 down the drain again. A lot of gnarly and fighting and snarling and I want to hear them talk and jump around and clown around and smash buildings. Anyway, I suppose they're trying to make it more action-packed, more of a storyline, but those stories never work in movies. When you try and fit one into a computer game, it never really comes off, does it? I don't know what Halo's like. I never saw that one. I don't know if June's that's an old book, isn't it, June? Yeah, I haven't seen June. I'm not that interested. All those polished characters looking all like they just got out of a salon and they're out in the middle of the desert. They should look more like me, you know. They look like they're out of a salon and they've got perfect hair and they're out in the desert under or whatever's happening. It seems a bit far-fetched. The whole polished... As soon as Glee come out and it just ruined the whole landscape of films and TV, It took the characters away. It was just all these polished sort of faces. Looked like they just come out of a machine shop or something. All the same, like clones, But yeah, I don't like all those sort of shows, and even those cop shows turn me off, NCIS and that. I know they're just doing their best to come up with original content. America's not a endless supply of creativity. They're just people creating, but still, it's just disappointing. You can't enjoy them. That's noisy. Hang on. Yeah, I hope that clicking sound's not in this again. Yeah, click, 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 click. Probably in the background. I don't know why I bought this camera thing. It was better than the other one, but it's noisy. It's got all those clicking noises. It's supposed to be good. It's a Logitech business one, but it hasn't been that good. I should have maybe got saved up and got a 4K one, but still, like, it's not as good over the internet for like when you're talking to people with not as good shitty internet connections. It's sort of probably just better off the one I had, the 720k. That's 720p. Anyway, but yeah. What else? I'm trying to think of something to talk about just to cap off the night. Hope someone's reading or watching my videos out there. If you can comment and say hello on YouTube and just say good job or something positive. I like positive stuff because I'm a positive person, even though I'm worn out. It's just from being single a long time, battling on my own, but it's all good. I'm all positive about life and moving forward, and nearly finished my term at RMIT doing my electronics, communications. So yeah, just one test tomorrow. I should be studying now, but I might do a bit tomorrow, so should be alright. I think I'll be okay. I've got pretty much. I might have to Google some in case they crop up and I'm not expecting them. So I mean, we're pretty laid back in class. Like the whole class, you go with the vibe, and they're all pretty laid back and chilled. Hard at it like bookworms. Some courses I've done like naturopathy or something, they were full on trying to get A's and everything, and I know that's good, but I don't know, you got to look after your stress levels. I think not overdo it. I remember some people at school tried to get 98.9 or whatever the highest mark you could get and to be doctors, and I don't think they even ended up being doctors. They ended up being bakers or something, and so you get all that effort, nearly break your brain doing all this, and then you're stressed. I think it's better to. Some people more geared to that. I think they're just more intuitive with study rather than. I've always been a bit of an all-rounder. I think just around the mid-range somewhere. Bit of good at everything, bit not so good at everything. Sort of bit good, bit bad. Yeah, just sort of somewhere around the middle. I suppose they call people like me the average Joe, don't they? Or the average bloke. I always like to improve the world so my life improves. I always feel like I'm sort of not stuck, but I just feel like I'm in the middle of the world, sort of at the mercy of what everyone else is doing. Someone's trying to boost everyone up, do a good job, improve, make things better. I want the world to get better. I want to find my kingdom or whatever I deserve in life, my family, or not to rule the whole world, just to have my own little kingdom, my fun little palace to live in with all the people I love. I'd love that one day. See them around, but sort of different circles, yeah, it'd be nice. I don't know if that's a reality or whether it's just a dream, but it still feels nice to have something to look forward to one day, maybe another life, another incarnation, or whatever we're doing. No, I was surprised when that 4K version worked on the Xbox, because it just said Blu-ray, it didn't say 4K on the app, because you've got to have an app to run it. But the drive and the hard drive, the disc drive in there works with 4K, so that's pretty cool. I like that. Was this Blu-ray I bought doesn't support it? Maybe you've got to get an add-on or something, or Windows or something. But it wouldn't load it, so hoo-hoo, Windows. Yeah, probably need a standalone player or another disc drive. in my computer to run the disc. I like having discs because I like copying off the disc and putting them on my hard drive and encoding them and watching them and putting on my server and keeping a copy. And I like sort of organising my stuff, but having a disc copy as well, sort of in case I lose it, or sort of a backup. Like that's why I buy them. They're only $20, so I think they get up to like 35 or something for most movies. That's not too bad for a movie, and you get to keep a disc. Some box sets are like $70. Depends. I was going to get the footy season AFL Premiership one, but it's like I think it was $140 or something. I just didn't have the money. So yeah, I can talk the leg off a chair, can't I? So I've gotten better at it over the years, chatting away. But, I can pretty much talk about anything, make funny comments or whatever. Yeah, I was giving all that Superman stuff a rest, just getting back to chilling out. I saw some friends tonight, which was nice. Had dinner. That sort of grounded me a bit. Been a bit up in the air on my own, too much, in my thoughts and in my different dimensions, sort of exploring my worlds and things I'm sort of creating, and sort of got to get back to reality a bit, back to grounding and just in the here and now, and just I don't like thinking too much about all that too much. It sort of feels like I'm forced to sort of explore that, just being on my own. It's like you got no distraction. On my own, I mean at home, I live by myself, so yeah, I haven't made too many friends here. There's a few people I'm friendly with. Just in the building here, but it'd be nice to have some mates around or something. Just to kick back, have a couple of beers or whatever, have a sausage or whatever people do these days. I get home, I want to eat more now. That's just what I enjoy at home, just have my own space to cook and eat, but I got to just hold back a lot. Just pick up the weights instead, do some weights, or go for a bike ride, or that's all I can think of at the moment, exercise wise. Go to the gym, just not in the picture at the moment, can't afford it, and I'm stretching my money right to the limit, going through my savings, so it's not good. I'm going to be broke soon and really struggling, I think, but at least the car's out, paid all that, paid the rego, paid all my insurance, so that's good. They had a slight problem with it, I'm sort of sorting out, but it should be fine, hopefully. And the computer's going good at the moment, so it's all fixed up. Got my new keyboard and mouse, so check out the mouse, it's cool, I like the little colours. I just wanted a basic. I didn't want one of those big ones with all the shapes and that, to fit your hand. I just wanted a basic one, but kind of a cool one. It has the RGB. You can't really see it there with the light. It changes colours. Sort of goes from yellow to blue to. It's apparently a really good gaming one. I understand why. It's kind of lightweight, but it's fairly solid. Just like your normal Logitech one, really, but it's Steel Series or something. Was it Razer? No, Razer. The keyboard's Razer. The keyboard's nice too. Check that out. It's got the looks cool. It's got the little scroll wheel on the side here for the volume. Yeah, it's cool. It looks nice. I like all the colours and things. I sort of didn't like that at first, but I just had a really boring keyboard, like a Microsoft, beige one. But I think this is better with a bit of light. What else is there to talk about these days? I haven't got much else. That's why I delve into all the Superman, not just Superman, but all the different worlds I've sort of been dreaming of. And you got to dream to create these worlds. You got to think ahead. You can't just expect them to appear when you get there. It's it might be a million years before I see some of it happen, but I'd like it all to be really pleasant, really enjoyable. I don't like a lot of violence, maybe it's a little bit here and there, but I don't like cataclysmic planets exploding and all sorts of horrors happening. I like it all pretty cool, pretty hip, pretty chilled, pretty happy, pretty happening. Yeah, my idea of Superman is someone who helps people with good deeds. Doesn't always have to be saving the whole world, that's just the extremes of the movie industry. I think he's more someone who just goes around and helps people out. If they need help, he uses his ability to help them do stuff. Maybe someone's, broken down the road, so he flies over and carries a car home or something. Or, just nice stuff. I like Superman to be like, just an everyday person. A bit like the whole idea they tried to make Spider-Man the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I think that's cool. Rather than this one breaking trains and smashing things and getting attacked by monsters. And he's been a friendly dude, hanging out with your friends, and maybe you got a bit of an advantage being a bit ahead in evolution, but you're sort of moving everyone forward. And that'd be cool to be a bit of a Spider-Man, I reckon. I've got that sort of world in there somewhere, hiding away. I don't know if I should talk about all that really, because people just look at you stupid. But I see myself as all these characters in one person. I just see my face is just this mishmash of every sort of thing I've ever dreamt about. But I have depending who I'm loving or who I'm in love with, I suppose what dimension I travel to is how I change into different shapes or different people. Not shapes, but different sort of characters. I even got Wonder Woman in there somewhere hiding away. My feminine side turned into a goddess. You probably all believe that, but I can actually see the world she's living in. She's really beautiful. She's a beautiful woman with all her tribe of women, all her friends. More of a family, I suppose you'd call it. Living her life. She doesn't really know I exist. She just believes there's a God above, and that's sort of where I am. Sort of created her, but she's sort of me as well. It's kind of a beautiful relationship. Sort of seeing yourself blossom and then become the person. You might think it's in my balls or something, it's my kids or something. It's not. It's a whole other dimension I've sort of been building and been creating that will one day probably merge with this one and sort of become a more beautiful sort of utopian sort of world, gods and beings, and I think it's possible. Other people shun and think it's nonsense, but I think back to the way you create worlds, you've got to understand history, you've got to understand the creation process, and I sort of delve into that a lot and sort right back to the beginning of things. When I say that, the beginning of the conscious universe, the CEO, like I remember all my lifetimes, and I remember the transitions between, and I remember when I was my last lifetime, when I was this little boy, got killed. I got murdered by being tipped up inside of a rubbish can. It reminds me a bit of a never-ending story at the start of that. I got chased down this alleyway by bullies, and they tipped me up onto a rubbish can and had a knife in it, and it stabbed through my head, and it was sort of designed to sort of break through my cortex in my brain. So I just remember as a child I used to have those dreams of it, recurring dreams every night, that same dream, being chased by bullies and then tipped up on my head, and then I'd black out. I'd wake up really upset, used to go over and over and over and over. And then I saw the never-ending story, and I was like, oh my god, that just feels like my story. I'm this little Bastion, little kid. It's funny they call him Bastion, like little bastard or something. It's a funny old thing. I don't know. It's just a creation someone's come up with, whether they've shared that dream or whether they were there as well. Maybe the bully wrote it or something, or maybe it's nothing to do with me at all. But it's just things coincide in your life, I suppose. You sort of it's not just movies I think about all sorts of creative sort of movies. it's just something we can all relate to, you know. But I think of all sorts of other things that don't involve movies or books. A lot from childhood, a lot from history. I think up stuff from history that interests me. You know, I don't really want to write stories anymore. I didn't want to put it out there. I wanted to create worlds with it instead of books. I feel like I created all these books once and the Nazis destroyed them all, or took them, stole them and destroyed the evidence, and I just didn't want that to ever happen again, you know, like have all my work stolen. I know it gets stolen a bit on the internet, but it's sort of, that doesn't matter that much. It's just sort of common knowledge, a lot of it, you know, that I'm talking about. I'm just sort of, people think I'm trying to own it, but I'm not trying to own it. I feel I already do own it. I'm just trying to share my thoughts on it, really, you know. It's not something you own anyway, it's something you share. Those superpower stories travel the world, you know. It's Superman existed long before this century. The concept of Superman goes back a long, long way, you know. It's the gods and all sorts of beings. And it's like someone saying, you know, we own the title of gods because we made a movie about the god Hercules or something. You know, it's like ridiculous saying that, but you know, whoever created this Superman character, Kal-El from Krypton, is more of a you know, owning that sort of story. But my story is doesn't really involve that. I relate it to sort of kryptonite, but it's probably some other, you know, that's just what I relate to that people know. But the way I see Superman is totally different than those stories that were written. You know, that he's somehow stands out and just, you know, goes on to get all this attention and fight evil, and it sounds exhausting to me. I don't want to be doing that all day. I'd rather just be kicking back on a beach, and you don't have to fly. You can just fly home, wave in the window of the airplane, and fly back to your little house in the city or something. Work at your garage or whatever job you're doing. You don't have to be a reporter. You can have any job. And I think they just do that for a bit of a kick, saying it's a daily planet, you know, like it's just come from another planet. And, you know, we're all conditioned to believe these stories are set in concrete, but really it's like almost thinking about your own life is going to be something that turns out totally different to what you expect. You know, it's sort of like you're creating it without really knowing. It's subconsciously creating this sort of future. And you're sort of hoping and dreaming it's going to come true one day, and probably the moment you forget about it is the moment when you least expect it happens, you know, if it does, you know. I'm always a realist in the sense I'm always conscious of the fact all this could just be fantasy that never happens, you know, but it's like saying I'll write a book about floorboards, because if I write about a fantasy world, it may never happen. But to make the story interesting, you've got to think about the fantasy world and all the interesting stuff. You can't just write about floorboards, because you won't have a story. You'll just be sitting staring at floorboards or something. And for some, that might be comforting. You know, people like floorboards, but for me, I like to just think about all the intricacies of life and how they all relate and how the creative process happens. And I believe inside of me, beyond the earth, is a creative soul or entity. It's quite mighty. It's a mighty soul. That's the whole premise of being a God Almighty or a Christ Almighty. Not really. I don't think of myself as Christ, like I'm saving people. It's more just creator, telling a story. So I think that's more interesting than going around trying to save people. What are you trying to save people from? Their own lives? You know, that's ridiculous. So I think just being helpful and being a teacher and just being creative and being a good influence is enough. You know, I think that's all Superman or all these characters need to really be, is a good influence, a helpful person, a teacher, and also, you know, learn from people too. I mean, you know, you're here to learn about other people, not just sit gloat about yourself, you know, how mighty you are or whatever. You want to learn what other people want, what other people need, and yeah, probably build relationships with people, and I think sharing that bond and building that relationship, you find new realities that are just as valid as, say, the birth cycle. You could probably find new realities, new ways of being born. I don't believe in heaven people are born from a womb. I think that's too troubling. I think people make love and they have sex, but I just don't believe people are born from the womb in heaven. I think heaven's built on magic. I think it's a magical process, just as magical as childbirth when you think about it. But I think there's some kind of other factor at play on how people are born. I think it's a different process. And they might turn people off. They might think, oh no, I want to raise a child, and you probably can do that too. But it's just saying it's not the only way to do it in heaven. I think creation happens in many ways in heaven. It's because the thing that people get stuck on is that we have a devil inside, or an evil side, or somehow people are unclean having sex or having babies, or some sort of unclean process, or some kind of devil work at play when people are having sex. But really it's just the whole process of that and being born that way is the fact you're going to die one day, and where do we come from? There's no answers. It's a void of just misunderstanding, and it's like, where's this baby come from? It's come from a process we don't understand, and probably back in the day, it's associated with witchcraft or sorcery, or magical elements, or where who's had this baby and where's this thing come from? Or it's hard to explain what I'm trying to say, but ultimately what I'm trying to say is that process inside of ourselves that wants to be born that way and live and die and then not exist is it's almost like in heaven it's sort of turned around from being some kind of sinful, evil, devil work. It's sort of more a beautiful sort of angelic kind of magical sort of creative sort of thing. You can turn. There's more options. Probably childbirth as well, but there's more options. You could probably just find a child sort of I don't know, like, without making it sound too weird. Like, I don't want it to sound weird, but because in heaven it's all good. It's all a good sort of environment. There's nothing bad there. It's not sort of like finding a child in someone's dumped somewhere to rape it or something. It's not like that. You don't rape children. It's like a beautiful thing of finding, the whole idea of finding the child under the cabbage patch and taking it home to nurture it, or like in Willow, that story. Willow finds it in a basket floating down a river, and they take it in and love it. And, kind of, I think it's something like that. Heaven, it's sort of, I can see it and I understand it. I don't want to sort of talk the whole thing out and explain it all away, but something I don't ever want to sort of divulge is what heaven's really like. But it's something like that. It's sort of it's not just people or babies. It's all sorts of things you can sort of invent and bring into being, and it's sort of magically, like the way a wizard waves a wand and a bucket appears. These are heavenly attributes. So it doesn't just apply to children or childbirth or that kind of thing. It applies to other things too. So, or waving a wand and cleaning your house, sort of thing. That kind of aspect. The possibilities in heaven are designed to be endless in a good way, without the entanglements of any sort of evil, devilish sort of attachments. So, so there's nothing unclean about it, nothing unsavory, nothing like women screaming in childbirth in pain, might die in the process, because childbirth, if it doesn't go well, can be fatal too. So there's nothing like that fatal in heaven. It's not all those things that cause fatality are sort of washed away and changed to it's the evil sort of things in life that kill us off. So if you get to heaven, there's nothing to kill you. You're not going to die. You're going to have magical sort of transformational sort of involvement to move through life. You're not just going to live, die, and then that's the end, or live, die, and go back to your father to get reborn. It's if you learn the lessons in life, you don't have to go through that again. If you understand the process, you can challenge it enough to overcome it. And like me, it's not always about looking your best. It's just believing in that in your heart and your soul, and creating that. This body one day will be different. It will change into something I dream of it being. However that will happen, whether I fall in love and change that way with being in love with someone, or whether I pass away and turn into some sort of other thing like an angel or something, fly away, or I just believe there's a good process behind things, because otherwise, going through everything I've been through, I'd be dead by now. There's something holding me up. There's sort of some kind of force involved that's stronger than my blood pumping through my heart, that's keeping things in check, keeping things going. It's people might believe in ESP, or that sort of a deliverer of thoughts from you to other people. It's kind of a invisible sort of silent sort of transformation or transference. So that same vehicle that carries that is sort of the bond and the force that carries all these other promises that people make in their hearts to people. And I believe one day it all comes true, all those promises. You may ignore them, you may throw them away, you may think, no, I won't do them. I don't want to do that anymore. But eventually, life puts you into a set of circumstances which are pleasing enough for those promises to come true. And I think a promise can't be forced. It has to be met with another promise that matches to make it come true. You say, I promise I'll be good, and the other person says, okay, I promise I'll be good. So you both are good. So you both make that promise together. You both live at that moment together. If one person doesn't agree, they say, I don't want to do that, I'm not promising, then it probably won't happen, because a promise has to be acknowledged by someone else, so for it to come true, because that promise is given to someone else through that ESP, or that transference of energy. Or my promise is heaven. That was my promise, so I want it to come true. I made that promise a long time ago that heaven was going to be something I'd deliver, and I want it to be a promise that I keep. So I can't just say magically right now, gee, pow, you'll be in heaven, but the circumstances on earth aren't right. They're not going to be pleasing for that promise to come true. If and when it is, whether it takes 1,000,000 years or tomorrow for those set of circumstances in the world to be right, for heaven to be delivered to earth, then it's already around me. I've made the promise to myself, but sort of heaven on earth, it's not really shared by other people that have the same beliefs or promises they want to keep with me. So they're sort of fighting it, or rejecting it, or uninterested, or too far away, or don't know me, or but that's my interest. Bringing heaven to earth. It's sort of like where promises are all kept. Anyway, it's 35 minutes or 34 minutes, so I better sign off, and hopefully you're all having a nice night. And it's getting a bit late, 11:30, so I hope you see my video. I hope it's getting out there to people. If not, well, please make it go through to the world. I want the world to hear my voice and enjoy my little video, nipples and all. I'm a boy, I can do that. So boys are special. Girls can do it too. I'm not saying you can't, but it's just not socially acceptable, I don't think, on YouTube. Or it is sometimes, but other times. What a world it would be if we just all walk around naked, eh? Be a different sort of world, wouldn't it? Someone's made that promise somewhere, probably. It'll come true one day. Anyway, probably Angelina Jolie or someone. Sorry, Angelina. I mean that with the nicest respect. Deepest respect. Anyway, someone with a nice body probably made that promise, or probably does it on some island somewhere with their friends. But yeah. Anyway, see ya. Peace. Ken, the Jesus Ken, Superman, Evan, Peter Pan, Spider-Man, something. One day. I'm Evan now, so I'm one character.